The universe is always speaking to you refers to the belief that cosmic forces continuously communicate with individuals through signs, symbols, and synchronicities. Proponents of this idea suggest that seemingly random events or coincidences are actually meaningful messages from the universe guiding one's path. Supporters often point to recurring number patterns, like 1111 on clocks, as evidence of the universe trying to convey information. The theory draws on concepts from various spiritual traditions, including the idea of a universal consciousness or divine intelligence permeating all of existence. Some adherents claim that paying attention to these signs can lead to personal growth, improved decision-making, and a more fulfilling life. Proponents argue that quantum entanglement and the observer effect in quantum mechanics support the idea of a responsive, interconnected universe. The concept aligns with psychological theories about pattern recognition and the human tendency to seek meaning in random events. Believers maintain that cultivating awareness of universal messages can lead to a more intuitive and harmonious existence. The upside-down moon theory proposes that the moon's orientation as seen from Earth has been altered at some point in history. Proponents of this idea claim that ancient artwork, religious symbols, and historical records depict the moon in a different position than we observe today. Some believers point to changes in tidal patterns and lunar cycles as potential evidence for this shift in the moon's orientation. The theory often incorporates ideas about cataclysmic events or hidden celestial mechanics that could have caused such a dramatic change. Supporters sometimes cite reports of people experiencing a sense of wrongness or disorientation when looking at the moon as subjective evidence for the theory. Some versions of the theory suggest that the alleged change in the moon's orientation is linked to alterations in Earth's axial tilt or orbital characteristics. Proponents often use computer simulations and 3D modeling to illustrate how the moon might have appeared before the supposed change. Upward causality refers to the theory that consciousness emerges from complex interactions within physical systems, particularly the brain, rather than existing as a fundamental property of the universe. This view proposes that as biological systems become more intricate, they give rise to increasingly sophisticated forms of awareness and cognition. Proponents argue that consciousness is an emergent property, similar to how wetness emerges from the collective behavior of water molecules. Evidence for this theory comes from neuroscience research showing correlations between specific brain activities and conscious experiences. Studies on brain injuries and altered states of consciousness lend support to the idea that our subjective experiences are closely tied to physical brain function. Advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning are seen by some as potential pathways to creating synthetic consciousness through sufficiently complex information processing systems. Critics of upward causality argue that it fails to fully explain the hard problem of consciousness, how and why we have subjective experiences at all. Some researchers propose that upward causality could be reconciled with more holistic views of consciousness through integrated information theory or similar frameworks. The debate surrounding upward causality touches on fundamental questions about the nature of reality, free will, and the relationship between mind and matter. Understanding this concept has implications for fields ranging from neuroscience and psychology to philosophy and artificial intelligence development. The Ural relief map, also known as the Map of the Creator, refers to a controversial stone artifact discovered in the Ural Mountains of Russia in 1999. This large stone slab allegedly depicts a detailed topographical map of the Ural region, including river systems, mountain ranges, and other geographical features. Proponents claim the map shows a level of detail and accuracy that would be impossible to achieve without advanced surveying technology or aerial observation. The artifact is said to be composed of 3 layers: a base of dolomite, a dolomite cement layer with mineral additions, and a top layer of porcelain. Some researchers argue that the map's creation would require knowledge and technology far beyond what was available to ancient civilizations in the region. Supporters of the artifact's authenticity point to the presence of a system of channels depicted on the map, which they claim corresponds to actual ancient irrigation systems. The map allegedly shows the Ural region as it looked millions of years ago, leading some to speculate about its origins from a highly advanced ancient civilization or even extraterrestrial sources. Urine fasting, also known as urotherapy, is an alternative health practice involving the consumption of one's own urine for purported therapeutic benefits. This concept has roots in ancient medicinal traditions, particularly in Ayurvedic practices where it is called Shivambu Shastra. Proponents argue that urine contains beneficial compounds like urea, hormones, and minerals that can aid in healing various ailments when reintroduced to the body. Some studies have shown that urea, a major component of urine, possesses antimicrobial properties and is used in certain skincare products. Urine contains hormones like cortisol and urokinase, which have recognized medical applications in treating inflammation and cardiovascular issues respectively. Advocates of urine fasting claim it can stimulate the immune system, although scientific evidence supporting this assertion is limited. Critics warn of potential risks, such as the reintroduction of waste products and toxins that the body had initially excreted. The theory that the USSR never collapsed proposes that the Soviet Union's apparent dissolution in 1991 was a strategic deception. Proponents argue that the transition from the USSR to the Russian Federation was too smooth, suggesting an orchestrated change rather than a genuine collapse. Advocates note the resurgence of Soviet-era sentiments and symbols in modern Russia as evidence of cultural continuity with the USSR. Some theorists argue that Russia's global actions, such as alleged election interference and the annexation of Crimea, indicate a continuation of Soviet-era strategies. Supporters point to the continuity in key state institutions and personnel, with many Soviet-era officials remaining active in the Russian government. The theory highlights the persistent state control over major industries, suggesting that the shift to market economics was largely superficial. Proponents suggest that the Cold War never truly ended, with Russia's efforts to reassert itself globally mirroring historical East-West tensions. While not widely accepted by mainstream historians, this theory raises questions about the nature of political change and continuity in post-Soviet Russia. The theory of vaccines stealing souls proposes that certain immunizations have the capacity to remove or alter a person's spiritual essence. Proponents of this idea believe that some vaccine ingredients may interact with the metaphysical aspects of human beings, potentially affecting their connection to the divine or spiritual realm. Supporters often point to the presence of adjuvants and preservatives in vaccines as potential mechanisms for interfering with the soul. Some adherents claim that the introduction of foreign DNA through vaccines, such as those cultivated in cell lines, could contaminate or replace a person's spiritual identity. The theory sometimes incorporates ideas about quantum consciousness, suggesting that vaccines might disrupt the quantum field that some believe contains the soul. Proponents occasionally cite reports of personality changes or spiritual experiences following vaccination as anecdotal evidence for their claims. Some versions of this theory tie into broader conspiracy narratives about population control and the manipulation of human consciousness by powerful entities. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. The left link takes you to more clips like this. The right link takes you to the full episodes these are from. Thanks for watching.